So just about what we are going to cover in this webinar today, we're going to talk about eZdia, who we are and what we do. And we're going to dive into some of the complexities of integrated marketing and how things are changing with digital transformation. We are going to talk about content as one of the biggest challenges in integrated marketing and how it's $1 million problem today. We then will dive a bit into some of the solutions that we are offering to drive agility and scale to solve this big content problem. And some of the features that we will be covering from our solution set is automation, workforce management, collaboration, and responsiveness, all trying to solve the problem of content at scale, which is actually the integral part of integrated marketing. And last but not the least, we will have some key takeaways. And if we have time, we might even dive into a demo of eZdia. A little bit about the speakers. Joining me today is Alok Jain. He is the co-founder and CEO and CMO of eZdia. He has a master's degree from IIT Bombay, and he is a core technologist at heart. He is a very reputed industry leader. He has been head of SEO at large organizations like eBay and Walmart.
Thanks, Padmini, for those kind words.
And then this is me, Padmini. I am actually also helping Alok with marketing activities here. I have a master's degree in technology marketing, and I have been a marketer most of my life. I've run marketing for several startups in cloud, semiconductor, and others, and I've established successful execution strategies. About eZdia, a little bit. We are an enterprise content solutions company, if you didn't already know. We offer very targeted services around content, SEO, and data. And all our services are powered by our platform, which helps to bring in the complete workflow and workforce management for all our content projects. Our platform is basically set up to drive scale, and what is required to manage large scale content projects. We are very focused on e-commerce right now, where we see a very imminent need to scale content. And we have some very large brands in e-commerce that are currently taking advantage of our platform. Some very large internet retailers, some marketplaces, both in the US and India. So here's a set of our brands that are currently working with us. And if you see here, we have folks like Amazon, Movoto, Myntra, Flipkart, eBay, Jockey, Best Buy, and a ton of others who are currently leveraging the power of eZdia's platform. A little bit about what our platform is all about. So, these are some of the traditional features of any platform that you would see. But really, the beauty of our platform is the way it helps to drive the scale in content for large scale projects. And if we have time, we can talk about some of some of the practical aspects of it by going into a demo. But Alok will be sharing some of the most important features of our platform, like responsive solutions, the creative briefs, and other tools that we are kind of building for complete collaboration, etc. So I'm moving on to talk a little bit about integrated marketing and what it really means. And I guess all the marketers who are actually attending this session might actually know what integrated marketing is. The traditional definition, as we know, is relaying the message across all channels, traditional and non-traditional channels, direct and indirect, and using different promotional methods to reinforce your message. This is all good, and we all know this, but in modern times, which is basically now, the definition of integrated marketing has changed, and that has changed as a result of the influx of what we know as digital transformation. Right? So the current influences of technology, the current influences of multiple devices is altering the scope of marketing big time. And my next slide will talk about how this is happening. So if you look at my slide here, it talks about the modern digital marketer with the influx or the influence of what we call mobile, social, local, right? So if you look at the pyramid here, there is a shift in the balance of power from sales to marketing. There is a shift in the balance of power from sellers to buyers and from scarcity to abundance. So today, with the influx of all these tools, marketer has the power to drive marketing, you know, pretty much on their own, right? And as a result of that, the whole function of marketing and sales has converged. Similarly, the buyers. Today, it's the buyer's market because there is so much information. There is abundance of information for them to pick on and choose from. And so the sellers have to actually follow the direction of these buyers, right? So that's the another trend that we are seeing. And obviously, the third point about scarcity and abundance, we know that with the whole movement of social and mobile, there is a lot of information out there that people can actually chew on, and that has completely changed the definition and this landscape of marketing totally. So nothing to take away from the fact that due to a result of this digital transformation, integrated marketing is becoming complex, right? There is a large web of tools and processes and teams and products that need to interact with each other, which is what my first infographic is saying, right? So the teams might be global, you might have like some in-house, some agency. You might be working different time zones. You might have complex products which are actually continuing to build, and the processes need to be decoded to manage large projects. So all of this has to work in tandem and in unison for a marketing channel to work effectively. The second part of the process is the whole CMO dilemma. I'm sure you've heard a lot about this, where the CMO now is not going to make decisions just by himself. He has to interact with a CIO or a CTO or a CPO or a CDO, and all these things basically mean that um, the marketer has to work with technology, has to work with design heads, has to work with product guys, and there are imminent challenges there because everyone has a different agenda for the organization. So, taking that into account, this becomes a very big pain point. The third, obviously, is we all know, there is an influx of devices and there is an influx of what we call as, technology. As a result of this, your marketing channel has to be distributed very uniformly across all of these devices, which means that it has to be responsive and the content needs to make sense, right? And that is actually a bigger challenge because if you look at something like Android, there is a whole device fragmentation there. So how does marketing content actually talk to these different devices? Um, the third part of this presentation that I wanted to talk about was the whole face of multi-channel marketing and how it has kind of changed. So if you see the first part of my slide, it talks about some of the traditional channels that we've been using, which is basically email marketing, SEO, SEM, data management, display ads, and to some extent social engagement. And the greens are what people are currently using, and the oranges are actually what people are planning to use. So if you look at the second part of this slide, which talks about text messaging, social media advertising, mobile notifications, marketing automation, web personalization, you will see that the orange is actually more than the green, which basically means that people are actually planning to use these different methods or these different channels to do marketing now. And that actually is a big, broad message to us saying that the traditional channels won't work anymore and marketing needs to evolve and move to the next step. And this is where I kind of want to hand over to Alok, where he would talk about content as the foundation of integrated marketing and how it is such a big problem in the industry today. And then he's also going to talk about some of our platform's expertise and how it is helping to solve this content problem.
Yeah, so I think this might. So before I dive in, so thanks Padmini for uh, putting together a story around integrated marketing, and I think this crew is no new to the integrated marketing. I think they all are marketers; they have done it for long. But I think what we really want to dive into the major challenges and content strategy, as we already learned from the poll. So I think that is one area where we will be diving in, and we will be showing you a handful of tools and tricks to really solve some of the challenges what Padmini has shared. Before I dive in there, maybe this is a time for the second poll. So let me just launch the poll. So what we like to know is the digital transforming the integrated marketing experience for your organization. So I love to get your participation there. And all right, so I'm closing the poll, and I'm going to share the results. And by no surprise, the results are 100%. So it just tells like everybody is very well aware, and they feel the digital is going to transform the whole integrated marketing. And I'll take it you to some of the industry data, and I think it's clearly visible there. So on the next slide, I'd like to dive into the content, as that is interest of 50% of the audience at least. And we strongly believe, especially in eZdia, that content is the fabric of integrated marketing. And I will not dive into the whole content marketing and content creation ecosystem, but I'd like to present you some of the industry results and how the rest of the industry is looking at the content. So what we have seen in this audience for of this webinar, when I look at some of the industry data from large organization, large analytic organization like Glinster, so they have published a paper. They have done a survey of about 3,400 B2B companies, and what they learned there when it comes to the prioritization and where the content marketing is stand. So in between high priority and somewhat a priority, almost that covers 90% of the organization. So today, especially among B2B organization, the content marketing is one of the highest priority. And this survey results, this includes all the folks from CMO or VP to director of marketing and manager and marketing analyst. So this is like really a voice of a digital marketer. Um, when we dive into the kind of content these companies are creating, so in 2015 alone, they have a plan to create more than 40,000 pieces of unique content. And if you look at the kind of content they are creating, so the blog posts, newsletters, white paper, case studies, really big numbers, especially things like ebooks or webinar or white papers. These all are very long form content. And what that really tells that this content has been created keeping integrated marketing in mind. So these content has been created which go on multiple channels, including your blog, social media, native ads, and so on. So this is like need of the hour. And when the participants has been asked what really comes in their way to scale their content marketing efforts, what really is the primary cause behind the deadline misses. So really the approval delays, communication between shareholders, that's like 80 to 90% of the participant responded. Beside that, the usual problem of different type of content and fragmented technologies and so on. So I think the Padmini has shared a pretty good background around that. And when we dive into the content marketing challenges and what that is really doing for this organization, what we are learning that the B2B organization, they are spending over $5 billion in content marketing and content creation efforts. More than 25% of that is just being wasted because they do not use the efficient processes. And I'll dive in what is really efficient processes and what it means. So what Glinster does, they do a very good job. So what they do, they look at like top 10 percentile of companies who are doing really effective marketing, and they call them efficient partners. And the rest 90% they call average partners, or somebody who is just not running their operations with the right tools, technologies, and processes. So what they also learn that the most significant challenge in creating the content and scaling the content marketing effort is overall content creation process and really managing the whole process with different stakeholders. What they are also finding that these organizations are dedicating over 55% of their budget for the content marketing. So really, I mean, in terms of importance, everybody recognizes it. And when it comes to budget allocation, more than 50% budget is already telling that people are behind it. What they are also learning that due to inefficient processes, the inefficient partners, they end up spending at least one extra resource in the content marketing effort, which is really not needed. So it's not really a resource problem. And what they are indicating here that on an average, companies are spending over $120,000 on resources, which might not be really adding the value to the bottom line. So when they look at the efficient partners, what they are learning that they are producing 300% more content in compared to the inefficient partners, and also the 240% better cycle times. And again, I mean, we resonate with these problems. We learn from the efficient partners, and we took some of the best practices, which I'm going to show you in further slides and also in our demo. So just taking a couple of pointers, what they have indicated, looking at what efficient partners are doing differently than inefficient partners, what they are finding, it's really come down to three specific pointers: technologies, efficient processes, and the people and their alignment. So in technology, what they are finding, 100% of the efficient experts or partners, they have invested in standardized workflow and needed technologies. They have centralized asset and content, a centralized DEM system, and so on, and some kind of marketing automation tool. When it comes down to processes, what they are learning that they have automated a task. So when the content flows from one person to other person, it's more pull rather than push, and also the standardized content template. So each time a new content is there, they fork out a template and then scale the content marketing effort that way. When it comes down to people, so like really creating the content for the different personas, and making sure the KPIs has the volume of content has been produced, what are the cycle times to employ those processes. So really, how we or eZdia is solving the content creation and content marketing challenges, especially for the our clients, and we work with primarily large enterprises and B2B customers. So really, how we are solving this challenge, and what we see when we deploy some of these best practices, what we have learned from our clients and some of the efficient partners. Um, Before a platform like eZdia, and there are other competitors, so you can look into some of those as well. There is a Contently, there is a WHQ, there is a Capos, there is a Skyward, some of the names to take. So basically, before the platform, if you are not employing them, you might be using spreadsheets and email to manage this content creation and marketing challenges. And what we are learning from our clients, and these are the real industry data, what we are collecting from them. A project manager at one of our clients, if he was able to manage 1,000 item production in a given month, with our platform help, the same person is able to do 20,000 product descriptions. And we are literally talking about 2,000% gain in efficiency. That's like really 20x the result. And very key changes this platform brings: one, it really cut down the inefficient moving around of content. So when you are really dealing in spreadsheets and emails, a lot of that very small problems, whether it come down to review and so on, that really takes forever, and a lot of content just gets sunk in the inbox and never get attention. Um, Different people working at different places, the team synchronization, that doesn't happen. So the tool like eZdia or some of the competitor what I have mentioned, they really bring everybody on same page, so you can see who's doing what. The mechanism are like really pull and not push. So if people are available, they will take the work, so you really do not need to go behind it. And there are dashboards, so you can see who's doing what. And when it come down to distribution or publishing, the tools allow you to distribute on different platforms. The tools allow you to build the content in such a way where you can, from the beginning, you can build the content keeping the different form factors in mind and different channels for the multi-channel marketing, what will go on social versus what will go on your blog. All of that planning is being done from day one. So I'll some of the things I have already covered. So really, we combine the machine learning and human creativity to solve some of these challenges. The eZdia platform is built upon the crowd, which is a managed crowd, and I think some of these resources help you scaling the content for different channels. We have a smart feedback mechanism, and again, this just close the loop. So your audience is participating in the feedback. Your internal team, agencies, external workforce, they all are participating in the feedback mechanism just to scale the content creation process for various channels. So I'd like to show you a handful of the things which we have built just to solve some of these challenges which we have discussed in the in previous few slides. And really, what Greenstar has published, we take the same approach and we really summarize it in three or four elements. One thing is automation. What you can automate. If you are building the content, can you automate it, the content in such a way where when you are about to launch, you have the content ready for different channels. You have content ready for different form factors. So can you employ that process through some level of automation that it is ready when you are about to launch for mobile devices and your desktop and tablets simultaneously. How you can automate some of your content creation effort. For example, if you are writing up product descriptions, if you need to create product descriptions, and if you are a large e-commerce for thousand or million of products, how you can take the attributes and then can employ some of the automations, some natural language processing, and can create maybe 70 or 80% of that product description in more automated way. Then you can put the editorial processes and can get the same amount of content in much more cost effective way. When it comes down to video production, people think that that cannot be automated. And I'll show you one example what we have done for what we have presented to one of our clients. So I'll play this video and you guys can see.
Flipkart is pleased to present this super stylish smartphone. It has a large touchscreen display and powerful processor. It comes with a lot of built-in storage, and it can be extended to hold even more. It sports a very high-resolution primary camera and powerful secondary camera. And this stylish phone comes with some cutting-edge features and functionality for busy people on the go. So don't miss a thing with this powerhouse phone from Flipkart. Flipkart is pleased to present this super stylish smartphone. It has a large touchscreen display and powerful processor. It comes with a lot of built-in storage, and it can be extended to hold even more. It sports a very high-resolution primary camera and powerful secondary camera. And this stylish phone comes with some cutting-edge features and functionality for busy people on the go. So don't miss a thing with this powerhouse phone from Flipkart.
All right. So again, I mean, whenever you do video, you always have some challenges, but I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but what is really happening? There are four different phones in this video, which and I have already played for two different phones. So the voiceover and all the video script is exactly same, but the content is being processed separately. So the kind of voiceover is there, and the content script is there that can fit in multiple different phones or multiple different smartphones, and then all the rest of the information comes in textual format. So now the video production process, if each video take $1,000 to produce, with this methodology and automation, you can literally bring it down to just $20 when you are scaling it to hundreds of videos. So the automation, the example I have shown, that can be that can go in multiple folds, that can go to videos, that can go to your product descriptions, making it more machine way with some level of human interaction. You can employ automation in a lot of feedback collections. So for example, your customers are already telling on your product pages, they are telling you in terms of question and answer, they are telling in terms of reviews. You can collect all that information, and by automating it, you can do some level of gap analysis, and you can figure it out what is resonating with your customers when you create either a marketing copy or a product description next time. So the next piece which I like to dive in, and I like to also, it seems like we have some time left, so I'll also like to dive in the demo to show this part. So basically, the second piece what I like to cover, like really the workforce management, and you might have internal teams, you may have agencies, you might be using external teams like freelancers, and when you're really creating a content, everybody want to have a part in it. If you are in e-commerce, maybe merchants want to participate, your content team want to participate for sure, your SEO team want to participate, there might be a third party vendor, they may want to participate. For example, if you are writing about LG TV, LG might need to approve it, and then when you are launching it and publishing it, you might want to push it on various social platform, you might want to publish it on WordPress, you might have an internal CMS where you want to publish, you might have an Adobe Experience Manager you want to publish. So like really how you manage all that workforce, which is internal or external, how you give them the needed guidance, and how you can collaborate uh, all the people along with the processes to get the content done right, and who need to do what, how you employ a mechanism where as soon as one person is done, for example writer, then the editor get a notification that he or she need to do something. So I'll dive into the platform a little bit, just to show you how we solve it for our clients, and how we can get it to scale pretty quickly. I think you can deploy the same process at your end, or you can take help from one of the similar tools. Um, so when I look at the eZdia tool here, so this is our platform, and you can see it has all the roles. So the roles could be 5, 10, 20, 50 based upon the projects. So each person, each part of the workforce, they work in their role. So suppose if you have a role like writer or editor, they will have visibility only what they are supposed to do. If a writer is done with their part of the work, then editor get a notification that okay, some work is waiting for you and you might need to take an action. So now all the communication, which was like really more push, where a project manager need to align all these team members, it becomes more pull. Editor knows that there is a work need to be done as soon as a new project is launched. Now, we really do not do the allocation, or the project manager at eZdia do not do the allocation. Basically, they just create the rule set, and the rule set might look like that, okay, this kind of project will be attempted with a worker who has done work for toys for last 2 years. It can be attempted by a worker who has rating maybe 8 or 9 out of 10. So our project managers just create the rule set, and these workers, if they qualify the criteria, their work shows up. So it's really no longer an allocation, but it's all becomes like pull mechanism or checkout. So if the worker qualify, they check out the item, they work on it, and there is a tight timeline given, they need to push it back to the system. If they don't push it back, then system can take it away and can put in the open bucket again so somebody else can check out. So really, we align all the workforce, whether it is internal or external, or our freelancers, and really now everybody knows who need to do what. There are very rich dashboards, so a project manager, they can see who is doing what. So if I go to a project manager here, so rather than going behind anybody, now the project manager can say. So let me go to another client of ours. So the platform offers very rich dashboards. So for content manager or project manager, so you can see where the content is, how much content has been approved, what content is in pipeline, what content has been delivered. But at the same time, for project manager, the platform offers a lot of visibility, what action item they need to take, where the project got stuck, how many items are stuck for more than 24 hours or 48 hours. It gives information about the writers, what rating they have, what kind of work they are doing, what is their delivery cycle, how many items when they have checkout, for how long it has been sitting. So if they need to take an action item, or they need to push it to somebody else, they can take those action. And same thing goes to all the roles. So by doing this, all this workflow get aligned, or workforce get aligned. There is a very strong workflow mechanism. So if I dive into one of the item, you can see once you put together all this workflow, how the item is going to move from one person to other. And so let me go to. So you see this workflow history. So basically, when you dive in, you can see each piece of content, how it is moving from one stage to other stage. So now the project managers, once they set up the workflow, each party knows what function they need to do, when the content is going to move from one stage to other stage, and you can automate all the system. So now, using this collaboration, workflow, and workforce management, you can really achieve a lot higher efficiencies. When it come down to the content templates, and that's what I have also found in the Gleanister study, that they deployed this technology platform which does the automation, marketing automation, but at the same time they also deploy the processes where when you build a content, you go to different content templates. So you build a content template, you bring it to all of your audience, you create the content briefs. So each audience knows what they are supposed to do, and I'll show you an example of content brief also. And then they can do their part. So let me show you the template, and then I'll dive into the content creative brief, so you can see how that all put together. So here what I'm seeing, I'm looking one of the rich product description at Flipkart, and you can see this is our template. So let me show you how the content look, how they want to see it. So you see the template. So basically this template has uh, uh, the headline about what you're talking about for this rich product description. Then it has attributes. Then there are some of the copy. The way the template is built in the system, when you invoke the template for Flipkart, you can see that the way the template is built, somebody who is looking at the images, they can do the image research separately. Then somebody who's putting together attributes, and once those are done, the writer can write the copy. So the writer doesn't need to be very familiar with HTML, and still can perform the job. And these templates really help scaling, especially when you are using an external workforce. So when you are looking at different parties who are participating here, whether it is writer or editor or QA guy or image researcher, data researcher, HTML workforce, how you build a creative brief for a specific audience, and how they can see their own things, and they can learn either from the videos or textual templates, and that reduces the time what need to be put on in training and scaling a project. So when you go to our platform, and how all the creative brief is put together, so you can see in the project management, you go to the creative brief. When you're building this creative brief, so I'll take the same example of staples. So basically it's all compartmentalized, and you can see you can put in information like overview, content description, how it's going to put it together, do and don'ts, and you can put it at each role level. So you can put a separate creative brief for writers and editor and keyword researcher. The same technology, when we look at this compartmentalized technology, we deploy also to create the content. So for example, if I'm creating a large buying guide, I will create a summary section, and I'll say this summary section will be applicable for the buying guides, but it can be also applicable for the social media. So when you are putting together a post at the end for social media, you can take that buying guide, but the summary section that is also applicable there for the social media post. So now when you are building this content, you can build this content simultaneously for the multiple uh, form factors and multiple channels. So for multi-channel problems is being solved. So now I'm taking back the example of the creative brief, what we have put it together for different roles, and I'm going back to our example of staples here, and I'll just dive into one of the item, and I'll show you how the different party sees their part of the creative brief. So when I go to any item and I go to the creative brief, so here you guys see the style guide. So the style guide has everything like uh, what to do, what not to do, how the persona going to look like, what is the target audience, what is going to be the tone and voice when you are creating this content. And you can when we are building the creative brief, so there are a creative brief for uh, keyword researcher, there are creative brief for the editor checklist, what they should do, what they should not do when they are reviewing somebody else's items. So when the different workforce goes there, when they get a notification they need to do something, all this creative brief comes handy. They learn from it, and they take their role. So by deploying the right technologies and the right processes, including the templates, we really get a lot higher efficiencies. And as I shown, the project managers able to see 2000% higher efficiency. The writer editor, they see 40 to 50% higher efficiencies through these technologies. So I'll go back to my deck, and we covered this part. So the next thing I wanted to share, and we are pretty much close to the webinar. So what next I wanted to share is like really the creating the responsive content. So some of the part I have already covered in the previous demo. So how you build the content and how you can have the responsive side. So when you are building the content, it can be ready for different form factors. If you have the platform and technologies which can take or already have the responsive design, that's very good. If you don't, if you are an SMB, there are a lot of platform, whether you look at like Squarespace or Weebly or Wix, you can find one of them which has the responsive site methodology and along with the mobile editor. So you can build a site for automated way for all the form factors, but on top of it, it also give you a flexibility where you can make mobile site look even different and can offer the right experience for your audience. So I think I'll pretty much stop there. And here are some of the key takeaways from this session. So really, the collaboration is the key. We have talked about that quite a bit. Using the right tool and templates can bring the right alignment. Use automation for asset scalability, and really, when we look at the marketing today, all the challenges what we have discussed, um, since things are changing, what is working for marketing today will not work for tomorrow. All the channels are changing. There is a lot of evolvement is happening. When you look at one of the slide what Padmini has presented, you can clearly see that 50% of the methodologies what digital marketers are using today, they are planning to reduce those or shut down those, and they are going to switch to completely different things. So when the marketing is requiring that kind of agility, but at the same time you also need to scale the content, some of this automation really comes handy. So really to scale the content, you really need to learn and understand that you can really minimize the gap between creation to consumption. So really doing the research, figuring it out what is resonating with your audience, create the content fast, create it for different form factors, create it for different channels, um, publish it, and take a help from one of the tool in publishing. Our current platform has the connectors, so you can launch once the content is ready to different CMSs, including WordPress, AEM. You can launch on different e-commerce, including eBay and more. So really, from creation to consumption, how can you can expedite the process, collect the data, learn what is working, and really doing it again. And that's the whole ecosystem, whether it is come down to content marketing or entire integrated marketing. So really, I mean, I'll conclude that stay agile, stay integrated, and really be successful as well.
Thanks, Alok. So I think at this point, we would like to invite any questions if you guys have. Please type them in the chat box and we'll be happy to answer them for you. So I think the first question, Alok, that came in is around the future of content marketing and how do you see it evolve in the next 5 years or 10 years?
Yeah, so I think some of the challenges what we have discussed for content marketing today, they will kind of solve with various platforms. There is a lot more push you will guys we are going to see towards the platform. There is a lot of fragmentation within the platform space, but I think 5 year down the line there will be a lot of merger and acquisition, and there will be a handful of clear leaders in that space. When we look at the marketing today, I think it's already has shifted significantly, but still some of the organization treat it like more as a cost function. So that is going to change, and it will become a revenue function, and it will get a lot more integrated with the your core product. So if you see some of the studies published in between CMO and CIO, the interaction and their relationship, it has been all going positive side, and the percentage of growth you will see in double digits. So all those organizations are integrating, and the challenges what we have discussed, like device fragmentation, doing it, the content, creating the content for different multi channels, the platform and tool, they will be robust enough where when you are creating it, using the metadata and other things, and we are working on it. There are some large platform like Brightedge, they are working to solve this problem. So looking at the metadata, once the content is ready, how you can repurpose the content which will go on YouTube or social media and other places. So I think what we see today will change for tomorrow, but at same time there will be a whole lot new challenges. 5 year down the line, 10 year down the line, there will be a lot more wearables. The device will take very different shape. The responsive design alone will not cut it. So if you
Yeah.
are looking at a watch and you say I'll do my responsive design, that form factor is not going
Yeah.
to support it. So you really need to have a very different methodology just to serve that form factor. So
Right.
very different challenges will be there. So I'll pretty much stop there.
Very nice answer. Yeah, I think you're right on, the evolution of technology and where it's going. I mean, if there is a chip in our brain which is actually processing content at some point, like how do we kind of, market to that audience? So anyway, so those are the challenges. But I think the next question, moving on, I don't know what I need, and how is the best way to get started with eZdia? So this is an interesting question because for a marketer, I think the first response here is to actually get on a call with us and let's do a discovery session. Let's ask you a few questions around what you're currently looking at from a content perspective. And, based on your challenges, we will be able to kind of create a very customized approach for you, right? I mean, we've worked with small to large enterprises. So figuring that out is not a, huge issue for us. But Alok, what do you think about this question?
Yeah, so I think really it comes down to two things: whether you have internal team and you want to keep it that way, or you believe that part of the process can be outsourced. We have solution for both. So on one hand, we offer the platform where you can get the same level of efficiencies what we enjoy for our clients, utilizing your internal team. If that setup is not there, and you guys are outsourcing everything. You can outsource entire content creation process to us. um, the third, hybrid combination, where you say like, okay, we do part and eZdia do some part. That's also possible, since everything is based upon the workflow and the roles, various roles. So maybe out of 10 roles, you guys can take 2 or 3 roles, we can take 6 or 7, and then we can put together the workflow in such a way which works for you, as well as you enjoy some of our crowd, and help from our project managers. So we offer a lot of flexibility there, both from the content, service, as well as platform perspective. So as Padmini said, like once we can understand through the discovery session what you really need, I think we can suggest a solution which fit your need.
Right. And then I think one of the clear attributes that you would need is a budget. Because to get started with any of these projects, I think you will have to set that baseline. And once you have the baseline figured out, we will be able to help you. I think the next question is around tipping point, which is a very interesting question. What is the tipping point for content, and how much do I need to produce to start gaining traction and see some engagement and drive traffic and sales? Um, I mean, this is a very subjective question because it will really depend on what kind of business you're running. It's a very it's not a generic, like, cookie cutter answer that we can give you here. But I'll let Alok go first to think about like what his thought process around this whole thing.
Yeah, so I think when we talk about like the tipping point and the kind of content you need to produce, so you will find very different methodologies folks are utilizing in the market. So if you think somebody like Disney, they really do not believe in creating a lot of content. They believe in creating something really rock solid and repurposing it and presenting in a very different form factors. So you will find as soon as one cartoon character gets successful, you will find toys around it, and you'll find T-shirts and all kind of branding and goods, and so that's the methodology they take. So they really do not produce hundreds of thousands of copies. If you have a business like you're writing about founding fathers, that is a content you can create once, and that might be good for 10 years. The founding father, things are not changing every day. But now if you're talking about a phone cable, and you're talking about an app, or you're talking about new mobile gaming, I mean, every 6 months, I mean, if I create a content around 10 best tablets for uh, uh, teenager or kids, 6 months down the line, that finder or buying guide is going to get obsolete. There will be a whole new tablet. So that content you need to continue to repurpose and change. Now, what will be the tipping point? There is no straight answer to that, but really what it takes. Um, and again, I mean, if you are creating a blog and if you are a SMB, I say as long as you can create 2 to 3 posts every week consistently, and you can do it consistently for 6 months, you will start seeing the results. It's
Right.
very simple. If I think, if I take an analogy, if I have a restaurant, it's a brand new restaurant, forget about data. Today, if I'm opening today, I'm not going to see somebody, right? It's not like I'm going to see 500 people stopping by. Maybe I'll get a few, but that doesn't mean that I should stop cooking fresh meal. I should not continue to work on my menu. So it's same effort. So I'll keep doing that for 6 months, and the word of mouth will happen, and more people will start showing up. So Google has millions of choices. In the restaurant business, you're talking hardly 5 mile radius. Google has entire world. So you need to tell Google that why your restaurant is better than everybody else when they have millions or sometimes billions of pages to bring instead of you. So you need to keep doing that consistently. Convince Google that you are going to stay there and you are there for long haul. And I'm just talking very specific to the SEO because I sense that that is more SEO specific question. But for sure, when you have these content, you can take it to all channels, and maybe SEO is not the best channel for you. Maybe social. I mean, you'll find the entire bus feed they are running on social. They do not care SEO. They really say like we build the whole channel because it goes viral. So it's really come down to what kind of business you are in. If you are a publisher, if viral is your methodology or SEO is your thing, and if you are writing about something which is changing, if you
Yeah.
are an e-commerce or real estate company,
Yeah.
you really don't have a choice. You cannot say that I'll create 10 good content and I will survive. then it's really a volume and a scale game. So
Yeah. I agree, and just to add to that, I kind of believe in the learn fast model, and I've seen a lot of industries that work like that. You basically have to have a very diversified content strategy, that's for sure. And what it means is that you have to run experiments. You have to run A/Bs across the board to see which one's working, which one's not. And once you've established traction with one particular segment, and you see enough momentum there, you kind of put your investment into that bucket a lot more than the others because you've seen that that's worked. So, and this is where the whole A/B testing and everything becomes very critical, and tools like automation tools become critical, and sometimes content intelligence tools like Brightage, and also if eZdia kind of develops dashboarding to that level, it will become very critical to understand and evaluate and churn that data. So I think that's where greater data-driven marketing also becomes very critical. If that answers your question, I have one more question, and then I think we'll have to kind of close the session. But what when a customer does what you suggest, what is typical ROI? If I understand this question correctly, what this person is asking is that if you basically implement something for a customer really well, how would you define the right ROI or a success of the project?
yeah, so the ROI becomes subjective because sometimes we do not get all the input from customer, like what are their really profit margin. But I can speak in terms of more ROAS, so that like what revenue you generate by spending a dollar. Um, so what we are learning, and again it varies from customer to customer. If you are a very niche player, suppose if you are a site which is like sporting goods and you serve only a very specific segment there, if you are a party site versus if you are a generic large e-commerce. So if you are a niche player and you have a brand voice and you have a good domain authority in certain area, you should be able to see 40 to 50 x ROS through some of the content marketing effort. And that's also the type of content. So the type of content, when it is like conversion content and I'm taking more e-commerce route, so if it is a product page copy or category page, you might see 30x ROS, 40x ROS. When it is like awareness, where there you cannot tie directly from an awareness article to the conversion. So if it is a blog or buying guide, you might be able to see 10 to 15x ROS. If you are a more generic e-commerce and like really big box store, you will see a different ROS equation for some of the uh, conversion content. You might see anywhere from 15 to 20, 25x ROS, where for awareness content, you might see 5 to 10x ROS. But that's direct. When you include the indirect outcome, what it does to other channels, because if you're looking only SEO channel, these numbers will work. But when you put everything together, because when you put a content, it will also help you reducing your paid search spend. It will also convert some of the direct traffic better because now the content is better. So now when you plug all of that equation together, then your ROS might become 50x or 100x. But sometimes it becomes very difficult to convince in large organization because whatever effort you will be doing, you might be just an SEO team or a content manager. So other merchant and everybody has a share. So it's difficult to justify there. But if you are a SMB and you are running the entire show, I think you will be able to see those results, and I think you will be able to convince the rest of the folks and leadership.
Great. Thanks, Alo. And last but not the least, someone is complimenting me on my voice. So thank you. And they're asking if I have an album on iTunes. Not yet, but I'm very inspired by all these little kids who are actually publishing their books. So someday, maybe soon.
Yeah, but just for the audience understanding, Padmini is a great singer, and she knows a lot of traditional music instruments along with. I'm not sure if she has a band, but I think
Not yet. That's what I'm saying. All right. Thank you very much for joining this session, and we look forward to the next session with you again.
thanks a lot, guys.